Good evening, Yorktown. It's Supervisor Matt Slater, joined here by Yorktown Councilman Ed Lachterman, Sergio Esposito, President of the Yorktown Chamber of Commerce. This is our weekly coronavirus question and answer session where we take questions from you, the public, on things that are coronavirus related. Before we start with questions, I just want to provide a quick update on a couple of things. Numbers for the town of Yorktown. As of Friday, which is the last time we received statistics from the Department of Health, we had 41 active cases in the town of Yorktown. Total number of cases is now at 620 for our community, and that's an addition of 3 new cases since the day before. Again, this is as of Friday and the most recent data that we have. Earlier today, Governor Cuomo announced that dentists can now reopen statewide. Also, we've learned that the DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles, these are the state-run Department of Motor Vehicles. So not the Putnam County Department Motor Vehicles. This is state-run, so Peekskill. Starting this Monday, June 1st, vehicle registration and other transactions can be done through the mail. Beginning June 4th, transactions can be used via secure drop boxes at each site. And all that information is on our website, yorktownny.org, under the coronavirus update page, as well as on our Facebook page. And so the DMV is starting to activate. As a reminder, the school budget vote and school board of trustee election is coming up. It's been set for June 9th, 2020. This election will be held via absentee ballot only. Voters do not need to submit an application for an absentee ballot for the June 9th election or vote. The absentee ballots are being automatically mailed to all qualified voters in the district. I do want to take a moment to just reemphasize a point because we have received quite a few questions on this. This is not a town of Yorktown vote. Our school districts are independent bodies recognized by the state of New York as independent bodies. So there's a separate school board and obviously school superintendents, just like we have a town board and town supervisor. So these are for all of our school districts. There are 4 in the town of Yorktown. Obviously the Yorktown Central School District, Lakeland Central School District, and believe it or not, we have some on the south side of town in the Croton School District and Ossining. So June 9th is the election via absentee mail. As a reminder, our full day and half day summer camps that are sponsored by the town of Yorktown have been canceled for this summer. Private camps are still waiting for guidance from the state of New York about whether they can open and how they will operate. So if you are in need of summer camps, please reach out to our private camp providers that are continuing down that road. Also, Sparkle Lake is still scheduled to be opened June 22nd. Our Parks and Rec team are working on parameters to open Sparkle Lake. We learned over the weekend that we are still under a 50% cap for our total town workforce, 50%, and that includes our summer help, and which obviously would mean lifeguards and any additional staff needed to make sure that we have a safe summer at our recreational facilities. So our town this week is going to start figuring out what that means from a staffing standpoint, but Sparkle Lake is still scheduled for June 22nd. As a reminder, John C. Hart Library has their porch pickup program, which started. Again, to put an item on hold, you can go to the catalog through the John C. Hart Library website, or you can call them at 245-5262, extension 227, and you can leave a message with your request for them to put a hold on any items that you want checked out. Again, if you had items that you had checked out prior to the library closing, they are asking for them back, so please get them back ASAP, either over at the library. They do have drop box outside the main library. There's a drop box, a library-specific drop box here on the side of Town Hall in the commuter lot, not the drop box that's in front of Town Hall. It's the drop box on the side. We've had a couple of library books show up in that drop box. So. But the library-specific drop box is in the commuter lot on the side of Town Hall. As a reminder, town buildings still remain closed to the public, including Town Hall, but our offices remain operational. So if you do need our assistance, please feel free to call any of our departments or email any of our departments. As a reminder about bulk pickup, Section 6 is set to begin on June 8th, Section 7 on June 22nd. We are currently in the middle of Section 5. Sections 1, 2, and 3 have not been set. Again, we've had to modify this because of the 50% workforce cap that we are dealing with on top of the large volume. As a reminder about the volume, our staffs picked up 850 tons of bulk trash, 850 tons, plus 7 tons of bulk metal. So again, half the staff, tremendous amount of volume, more so than what we're accustomed to, taking us longer to get through each section. So again, Section 5 is continuing, Section 6 is starting June 8th, Section 7, June 22nd. Sections 1, 2, and 3 have not been set at this point in time. So please, if you're in Sections 1, 2, or 3, we ask that you don't start putting your bulk trash out at the end of your driveways because they're just going to sit there at least until the end of June, and that becomes an issue in and of itself. And again, this is a question and answer session. We do have on Facebook, we have Councilman Lachterman answering questions that he'll relay back to us and what we can discuss. You can also call this phone right here, 914-962-5722, extension 216. Again, 962-5722, extension 216, and we can answer the phone right here. In the meantime, I'm going to see if Councilman Lachterman, anything you want to add for us? Oh. They beat you. Saved by the bell.
All right.
Supervisor Slater, how can I help you? No, it's okay. How can I help you? Sure. Yep. No, that's a great point. I'll clarify that right now. That's perfect. I appreciate it. Thanks, Sheree. Talk to you soon. Bye. So again, on masks, the executive order states that if you can't maintain social distancing, which is defined as 6 feet, you are required to have a mask. If you are beyond 6 feet, it is not required. It is recommended. That's the executive order. That's what it says. We believe that out of pure social responsibility, you should be wearing a mask when you're out in public, regardless of that 6-foot rule. Again, out of pure respect for yourself, for your neighbors, and for others who you're going to come in contact with, to reduce any risk of potentially either contracting or spreading the coronavirus. Again, our numbers continue to go down. We continue to flatten the curve. The town and our residents have been fantastic in adhering to the parameters we put forth. But to make sure we're clear, so the law says, the executive order signed by Governor Cuomo says 6 feet. If you can't maintain 6 feet, you have to wear a mask. Social responsibility, you should probably be wearing the mask regardless of that 6-foot rule.
So now, I'm sorry, Ed, if you don't mind. The Chamber put out an article in the paper with some recommendations that businesses should adhere to. And although the rule is, the 6-foot rule stays in place, businesses can require masks on their premises. So if you walk into a business and they say you have to wear a mask, you can't turn around and say, well, the governor says we can maintain 6 feet. The business is the ultimate guidance there and has the ultimate say, and a business can require. Almost the same as if you're not wearing a shirt or you don't have shoes. Some place you see no shoes.
That was an executive
no shoes,
order.
No shoes.
That was another executive order signed by the governor last week, that a business can turn someone away if they choose to, if they're not wearing a mask. And I've been to quite a few local establishments here across town. They do have the signs.
Yeah.
No mask, no service.
And I got to tell you, as from a business perspective, if you want to quell the fears or concerns for some people out there, some people aren't as concerned, but some people are, and you want to get as many people into your business as possible, establishing a clear mask policy for your business isn't a bad idea. As a matter of fact, along with what the supervisor has stated, it's socially responsible. I'm sorry, Ed. I didn't mean to interject.
No, that's okay. Look, it all comes down to the old saying that you have the right, if you own a store or a business, you have the right to refuse service to someone if they're not, if you have specific policies that are set up that are not in any way segregational. So it's very understandable. And, it's funny because I know a lot of people that say, well, I don't think I need to wear a mask. And the problem that I look at is don't look at it for yourself. Look at it as respect for others.
Right.
Because you don't know who you're coming in contact and who they come. So someone who's caring for an elderly person. So I think Sean Hannity always says, don't do it for me, do it for grandma and grandpa.
Yeah.
It's 100%.
We put out a set of common sense recommendations. I mean, very basic stuff that costs nothing. Really, it's so cheap to implement, and will go a long way for our businesses in Yorktown to really draw people into their place of business and really instill confidence in your people that are going to be.
Well, you said it before. I mean, these policies, and we're doing the same here at Town Hall. They're meant to protect the public, but they're also meant to protect the employees who are there and they're working. And so, again, I think err on the side of caution.
Yep.
I don't think there's any harm in doing it. Err on the side of caution. If you're going to be out in public, just have your mask. It's just going to make the people around you feel safer, whether or not you were sitting there measuring 6 feet or not. It's going to make the places that you're going into feel safer. And again, at this point in time, we are seeing many small businesses mandate a mask, regardless, and that's their right, and under the law now they're able to do that.
We have 3 questions in right now that I saw.
Sure.
So the first one was what businesses are opening locally with Phase 2?
Sure. So we can go over that for Phase 2. Phase 2, and again, this is all on our Town of Yorktown website. There's the coronavirus page. New York Forward has a New York Forward Business Reopen lookup tool. So if you're a small business owner and you don't know, you've used this yourself.
I have, not happily, but I have.
You can go through and check to see if your specific type of business is allowed. There are, by the way, again, the New York Forward Safety Plan template, which they encourage businesses to fill out. It's basically an affidavit saying that you're putting the safety parameters into place. So here's what we know. You have you have offices, which is very generic. You have real estate. You have essential Phase 2 in-store retail. You have vehicle sales, leases and rentals, retail, rental, repair, and cleaning. You have commercial building management, and the new one for Phase 2 is barbershops and hair salons. They are going to be permitted to open as part of Phase 2.
Nail studios also, I believe.
I think that's correct. They lump them in with hair salons and barbershops. So that's what's in Phase 2. Again, we're not there yet. According to the timeline, we should be there by the end of the week, as long as everything stays in check. But that's what Phase 2 business is. And again, this is all under. You can go click the links on our website, the yorktownny.org website. You can go through. They have summary guidelines, and then they have, again, your affirmation of detailed guidelines. You have your business safety plan template. So the state is really trying to provide as much information as it can. I can tell you that, for offices, the town is going to be looking at what the proposed guidelines are for offices. Everything from physical distancing to protective equipment, hygiene and cleaning, and communication. I mean, these are all things, screening, these are all things that the state provides a clear roadmap of mandatory requirements versus best practices recommendations. And we can do a whole segment on just what those parameters are. But again, those are all available through our website and I believe through the chamber as well. You guys have links on this on your website
That's
as well?
correct.
Yes. So, but those are the Phase 2 businesses. Again, we're not there yet. We're still in Phase 1. But Phase 2, as long as we continue to flatten the curve, our region will be green-lighted for Phase 2 according to the 2-week timeline by the end of the week.
Good. Next one I'll take, if you don't mind. On the track in town, what are the rules and regulations? So the social distancing remains in effect on the track. The track is open. There are now 3 lanes. There is a jogging lane, a passing lane, and a walking lane. Everyone should be moving counterclockwise around the track, meaning walking sort of up Veterans Road from the ACCCC building towards the Legion. Yeah. And we need to try to adhere to those social distancing. If you should have your mask available for the comfort of others as well, and please yield to the people running and passing. The fields are not open.
There's signage up.
And there's signage up as well, and the active play areas are not open as well, the playground or the workout equipment.
Just off of that, all of our fields, our active parklands are closed. That includes Granite Knolls, that includes Legacy, that includes Apar Field, that includes Hunterbrook, that includes so they all remain closed. We expect them to be part of the Phase 4 opening, which the state has identified as recreation. So for the time being, it's just the track, and we are expecting people to adhere to social distancing. And if you're passing people, you are, according with the executive order that we just talked about, I know it's either you're jogging or walking, I understand that, but you still are going to need to have a mask on you. That's what we've stated, that's what we've requested. And the town is also, after a number of conversations that we've had with the board and our Parks and Rec director, has reserved the right to close the track if people aren't adhering to the rules, because those rules are there, again, for your safety and for everyone else's safety, because we all just want to flatten this curve so we can get back through all 4 phases and back to summer as we all know it.
Well, you sort of answered the next question, which was any idea when fields will be open for youth sports?
Phase 4 is all we're being told. And I know that there were I've seen some debates about youth baseball. I've seen some about specific sports. It's all being lumped together. The only things that you're allowed to do right now is tennis. Singles tennis is open at Lower Downing and Blackberry. Pickleball, we are trying to figure out a solution to, because there are guidelines to allow pickleball, but our pickleball courts are located at Granite Knolls. And again, we simply can't grant access to one section of Granite Knolls. We'd have to open the entire facility, which we are not comfortable doing.
And that just answered the last question that came in, which is, are the tennis courts open?
2 tennis courts, again, Lower Downing, which is at 132 and 202. As well as Blackberry, which is up in the north side of town. And the other thing I was going to say was FDR Park remains open. There's no charge to get in, but they are capped at 50% of their total parking. So they will have someone there counting on the parking side. And once they get to that 50% cap, then they will be prohibiting entrance until people leave. But their playgrounds are not accessible. Their sports field, again, it's the same rules of engagement as we have here for the town of Yorktown, and we think that's important to make sure that we're in line in that aspect.
I also think it's important to mention that, there are people that do break the policies and the rules and go on the field. That does not mean it's acceptable. Especially at FDR, we've had multiple complaints about different things, people not adhering to the policies on jogging and walking and keeping close, people using the fields.
Softball, right?
Yeah.
Softball complaint.
Softball complaint.
Yeah, which has all been forwarded to the state, by the way.
Right. We don't handle that. We have no jurisdiction in FDR, as it is a state park, but the supervisor's office has been forwarding those complaints to the proper authorities.
But if we've had Chief Noble on here, but if you do see someone violating the parameters, please call the non-emergency police line, 914-962-4141.
And it's important.
They'll respond.
And I'm sorry. And it's important to mention that if you do see somebody violating the mask policy or something like that, do not take it upon yourself to police or because that just ends up in a confrontational situation. Call the number, the non-emergency police line, and they'll address it as best as they could. But it's important not to confront anybody and maybe get into a situation where you don't want to be in or they don't want to be in, and of course the town doesn't want to see anybody in. Right?
Yeah,
That's important.
And look, I've always been a proponent of, if you see something and you want to say something politely, fine. If someone responds in an off way, that's where you say, no problem, have a great day, and walk away, and then you could report it. But it does not make sense for you to try to be the police and endanger yourself in these situations and have things escalate.
Absolutely. Again, you can call in 914-962-5722, extension 216. Again, 914-962-5722, extension 216. Where you're here until 7 o'clock. You can call in and ask a question. You can post it on our Facebook page, which Councilman Lachterman is monitoring as well. I've neglected to mention that for our seniors, for the Yorktown and Lakeland graduating classes, I know that they've announced a series of events. I'll take this if you guys want to continue.
No, we'll let you finish up on that when you're
We'll
done.
wait.
Supervisor Slater, how can I help you? What do you mean by history? Oh, understood. Yep, no problem. No problem. I'll answer that right now. Thank you. Supervisor Slater, how can I help you? That's a great question, and Operation Outdoors, and I'll answer that right now. No problem. You're welcome. Bye-bye. So the first question we had was from Linda about our Senior Nutrition Center. That remains closed, and we expect it to remain closed at least until Phase 4, and that's at an abundance of caution for the most vulnerable population that we continue to try to protect. Which is our seniors. Our Meals on Wheels program, Noreen O'Driscoll does just a phenomenal job with her and her staff, and they're continuing to provide an expanded Meals on Wheels program to our homebound seniors. They're serving about, I think it's 130 meals.
Yeah, she just went up another 6 or 7 last week.
So it might be close to 140 at this point.
Yep. And there is no one on the waiting list. They are doing whatever they can to accommodate whoever has a need.
Yep.
And, please call her, flood her, because this way I could get rehired for my volunteer work.
Absolutely.
Because she's back to full staff there.
But I know we are also working with Noreen and Jim Moderano, our rec director, about doing some exercise classes that we're going to try to partner with some of our local businesses on, and put that up on the Access channel, so that our seniors at home would be able to engage in some safe instructional exercise during this time.
That'd be great.
Yep. But as for the nutrition center, again, we don't expect that to be open at least until the 4th phase. We had Miriam call about the operation of our barber shops and hair salons and outdoors. Now, the town board passed a resolution allowing me to sign an executive order, and we are in the process of passing legislation which would allow all businesses to have sidewalk sales that are in commercial zones, all commercial zones. And that also, and what actually started that was our restaurants, allowing our restaurants to have expanded outdoor dining. And so what we've done is, for those who don't know, what we've done is we've streamlined that process, the approval process, rather than having them to go before the planning board. Everything is now done through our building department, and this is sunsets at the end of the year, so this is specifically COVID related. So they would go through the building department, what would be roughly a 4 to 8 week program approval process. We've trimmed it to about a week, and we've also eliminated all fees associated with either the outdoor dining permit or the sidewalk sales permit. And I know that a lot of our restaurants are taking advantage of the outdoor dining. I have not heard of any of our retail as of yet.
And I'd like to address that. I was hoping that would come up. I mean, basically, in phase 1, retail could open a substantial amount of retail could open, but it's only for curbside pickup or in-store pickup. If they take advantage of this outdoor initiative that was brought about by the task force, and I commend the town board for passing it quickly, and for expediting the process and for waiving the fees. I mean, it's just a fantastic thing. I recommend that any business, whether they decide that they're going to take advantage of the outdoor or not, they should put their application in, because within phase one, if you have the application in and you get the permit to sell stuff outdoors, you can actually be open in a substantial way as in phase one. So why anybody wouldn't take advantage of it, I don't know. But I really highly recommend, get your application in. And if you decide that you don't want to move some of your operations outdoor, then don't, but get your application in.
100%. They're not paying for it, so you're not losing any money on it, because we wanted to, again, provide that helping hand to our businesses to get them back up on their feet.
Yep.
And so that was about a $600
$625,
I think it was the fee originally that we've eliminated. So I agree with you, Sergio. I think any business should take advantage of it.
So how do you go about it, right? That's the big question. You call the building department. It's a standard building application, as if you're putting in an application. And then what you're going to do is you're going to just do a rough drawing of where you plan to either put some chairs or a table or some merchandise. Something like that in front of your place of business. You map out, you do a small diagram, you put the application in, and then the building inspector will come and just to make sure that it's, of course, safe. The building inspector's highest priority is that
safety.
Is the safety of it all. And so once you get it approved, it gets stamped, and boom, you could move a lot of your stuff outside. You could put some merchandise outside. You could actually have sales going on outside. You could really be open in a substantial way. So, it's really advantageous to take advantage of it. And I'm going to be going around with the actual applications this week, just asking. I walked into a couple of places today, and as much as I've been talking about it and you guys have been talking about it, people still don't know about it.
Yeah.
So our initiative at the Chamber is to really get the word out at a higher level, and we've been putting the word out. It's just.
So let's just. I just also want to remind everybody that it doesn't mean that you can just, especially our restaurants, it doesn't mean you can just start throwing tables out there, and start, serving people outdoors. That's not allowed.
Right.
So this is us trying to get in front in a way that when that part of the reopening process kicks in, that as many of our businesses, as many of our restaurants, they have the necessary permitting in place, ready to hit the ground running.
Right. So restaurants aren't part of phase one. So they wouldn't be eligible to put the outside dining yet.
Right.
But some of the retail locations are part of phase one,
right,
and they would be able to put a table outside and some merchandise, or cater to people as they come, maintaining social distancing, maintaining your mask policy. Some of the recommendations, if you don't mind, that the Chamber put out, very basic recommendations, is: 1, implement a clear mask policy for your business. Install sneeze guards. Install a hand sanitizing station, which is a fancy way of saying you get a pump with hand sanitizer and you put it in the corner of your store, and when people walk in, they have to hand sanitize. Require the hand sanitation. Designate 6 or 9 feet markers. Get blue tape and just put it on the ground. Set a maximum number of customers that could be in your location at any one given time. Recommend wearing gloves. Sanitize your counters, doorknobs, and common areas. In clear weather, take advantage of the outdoor special use permit, which is what we were just talking about, put in place by the Reboot Yorktown Task Force. Space tables and chairs when it's appropriate, 6 to 9 feet apart. So this way you really can maintain that 6 feet distance. Check with your insurance carriers. I think this is a big one. See what the risk is and see how you could mitigate the risk. Maybe some kind of a waiver in your window to mitigate a disclaimer or something. Consider body temperature scans. And the last one that we'll mention is consider having your staff tested. I know that there's a couple of urgent cares that will actually, at no charge, schedule testing for your staff. You go there, you say we're going to be there between 6 and 7. We have 10 people. They'll schedule it. You bring your whole staff there, and they'll test your staff. At no additional charge. Your insurance will cover the testing. Or they'll even come to your place and test your staff at your place. I think there's a charge for that. So,
Serge, before we get too far off, I just want to make a clarification because someone had asked a question on here. Because, and we've said it, but just to make sure it's spelled out, this is all to get ahead of the curve, especially with the restaurants. Restaurant dining is not permitted as of yet, inside or outside.
Right.
Only takeout. So our goal is that when they open up for that phase and open up dining, especially in outdoor, that the restaurants are ready to go. We want to make sure that we are addressing it in advance so they are not getting, they're not waiting until the race starts to put on their running shoes.
Right. They're not part of the phase one
Right.
category.
Well, right
so-
now, I don't even think they're phase 2. I think they're in phase 3.
Right. Irrespective of
restaurants.
whatever phase they're in,
Right.
that's when they could take advantage of the special use permit.
Right.
So if anybody is in phase one now and they're not restaurants, retail, they would be able to take advantage of that in some way. So, it's really important. Get your applications in, and then further guidance is coming. But it starts with getting the application and taking advantage of
I
it.
think it's also important for folks at home to understand, as you can see just by us talking, you see how fluid the information is. And so we're trying our best to digest it as quickly as it comes out and then provide it in a way that's understandable for everybody at home. These are things that we continue to have daily conversations about. Joanne had just called asking about retail and the mall. So under phase 1, there is retail trade that is allowed. This is only for delivery, curbside, and in-store pickup. Clothing stores, direct selling establishments, electronics and appliance stores, electronics shopping and mail order houses, furniture and home furnishing stores, florists, general merchandise stores, health and personal care stores, jewelry, luggage, and leather goods stores, lawn and garden equipment and supply stores, office supplies, stationery and gift stores, used merchandise stores, shoe stores, sporting goods, hobby, musical instrument, and bookstores, and other miscellaneous store retailers. This is all part of phase 1. This is all for delivery, curbside, or in-store pickup. Now, as we were getting ready for phase 2, we were informed today, that the malls in general, are not going to be permitted to open. That is as of, we were told this today. Malls, specifically any indoor common portions of retail shopping malls with 100,000 or more square feet of retail space available for lease, are to remain closed. So unless they have their own direct access outdoors, the mall itself, all malls that are in these regions, all malls are going to have to remain closed. And that was something that we just learned literally today. And actually, I had shared that with our friends at the JV Mall. They are aware of it, and we're going to have a more in-depth conversation tomorrow about what that means for some of their retail that do have that direct access, ingress, egress, places like Dick's and so on and so forth. That what does that mean for them? So we can try to work with them to see if there's a way for us to
because sporting stuff I think is allowed to open in phase 1.
It is,
sporting
yeah.
goods and.
But it's just because of the mall aspect. So this is where it starts to get fuzzy, but these are all things that we work out collectively, and we collaborate, and we get the answers that we need, and we are able to implement it.
Very good.
So again, questions can be asked over on Facebook. Councilman Lachterman is monitoring the Facebook page. You can also call 914-962-5722, extension 216, and I'm happy to answer any of your questions. Again, that's 914-962-5722, extension 216. I was in the middle of talking about, for our seniors, at least for the Yorktown Lakeland Central School Districts, there were several events announced in advance of those graduation ceremonies. I know that there is a parade scheduled for the Lakeland Central School District this coming Saturday. Yorktown's, there's a parade that we're working on for, I believe, June 20th, if my memory serves me correctly, but later in the month. And so anyone with graduating seniors from either Yorktown or Lakeland, please make sure you're checking your individual school district websites, getting those superintendent updates. I know Superintendent Hatter sends out an update almost daily. Same with Superintendent Stone. They've been great partners. And so just make sure that you're keeping a close eye on that, because again, school districts run separate and independent from the town. I'm going to say it again, because I get questions all the time about it. We do not oversee the school districts in the town of Yorktown. They are independent bodies with their own board of trustees and their own superintendents, their own budgets, so on and so forth. So we gladly support and proudly support our school districts, and we're working in conjunction with them in a lot of ways, especially during this coronavirus, which has been terrific. But again, they are separate and aside. Supervisor Slater, how can I help you? That's a great question. I would say yes is what they're trying to encourage is just pavement. But I'm more than happy to get that answer directly from Parks. Would you be able to shoot me an email so I can get you a direct answer? It's mslater@yorktownny.org. If you just drop me an email, and I'm going to let the public know what we're talking about here, but if you just drop me an email, I'll be happy to get you a direct answer from our friends at State Parks. Thank you. Appreciate it. The question was in regards to FDR about whether their use of grass fields or is it just pavement. The more I'm thinking about this, I think it's just their trails. So all passive parts of FDR Park are allowed and encouraged. Any active parts of the park, meaning playgrounds, fields, basketball courts, so on and so forth, just like here in the town of Yorktown, are closed to the public for public use at this point in time. But again, for the caller, just please drop me an email, and I'll gladly get a direct answer from our friends at State Parks. Supervisor Slater, how can I help you? Hi, Andy. Yep, great. Condominium pools, I'll answer right now. Thank you, Andy. Appreciate it. Bye-bye. So the question, Andy lives over in Jefferson Village, and I've gotten this a couple of times because we do have several associations who have pools. That's going to come down to the County Department of Health, and according to our rec director, the county has pulled all pool permits at this time. Secondly, public pools under Governor Cuomo's executive order are not permitted to be open, whether again they're a municipal pool or an association pool. So at this point in time, for instance, the JOC pool would not be allowed to be open based off of the executive order of the governor, as well as without permission from Department of Health of Westchester County.
So, Mr. Supervisor, I wanted to also thank you, going back to the schools and all of that. I spoke to Dr. Hatter as well, and he actually has an article in the newspaper, in the Yorktown News, detailing I have a 2020 graduate, so I've been following this along, detailing the schedule and the sequence of events that the school system has put together for our graduates in conjunction with the town. And he told me that you guys are working with them hand and foot and very accommodating. But as far as from a business perspective, I wanted to also thank you for working with him, because he put forth an idea, Dr. Hatter did, he's asking that people buy gift cards from local businesses to support our local businesses, and to drop those gift cards off at the Yorktown Police Station drop-off. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm a little fuzzy on the details.
The drop box is so again, when this all started, we had established a drop box outside of the Yorktown Police Department for PPE donations that were going to go to our first responders and healthcare workers. And now we've turned that into this depository for these gift cards, which, if you want to continue.
Sure, and the gift cards are going to be earmarked for families in the school system that are in need.
Exactly.
So it's a great initiative. We're going to be talking about it a lot from the Chamber's perspective, but thank you to the town once again.
It was a no-brainer from our standpoint. Food security is a significant issue that I think we have to have a greater conversation about. Supervisor Slater, how can I help you? Hey, Lynn. Yeah, how you doing? Mm-hmm. And this is just for seniors? Okay. And we're sure they're issued by the IRS? Got it. Yeah, right. That's what I'm thinking. Yep. Lynn, this is great information. Yep. Perfect. Lynn, that's great. Thanks for sharing. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. That's our neighborly accountant, Lynn, who's been calling with these great tips. So Lynn just informed us. Lynn's an accountant here in town. And Lynn, we really do appreciate you sharing this information with us, that she's been notified by, this is specifically for our seniors, just to be on the lookout for this, but apparently people have been receiving debit cards with $1,200 as part of the stimulus package. So if you are receiving this, just be mindful. Be cautious, of course, because we all know that there's scam artists out there. So for our seniors especially, or anybody who receives this, please check the irs.gov website. And Lynn really encourages, especially our seniors, to rely on your family members, people you trust, for help in case you do get this card instead of the stimulus check, which I guess this is something that was just rolled out very recently and very rapidly. So she just wanted to share that information with the public. And again, Lynn, thank you.
I want to share that that's something that also happened with unemployment. So I've talked to a lot of people that were like, oh, I've been waiting for unemployment, and I put in for direct deposit, and nothing's come to my account. And I asked, did you get a debit card? Because I've heard, well, yeah, but I figure that's a scam. It's like, no. That's how they were so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
It was easier to do the debit cards, even for unemployment. So I think the same process has moved over. But as you said, you could check that out. Ask a family member.
Yeah.
Call your local council people. We're here to help you with that as well.
Yeah, we'd be happy to. You can absolutely call us here at Town Hall. So whether you're filing for unemployment, which again I wasn't even aware of that, to be honest with you, that they started implementing debit cards. But so if you are getting a debit card in the mail, don't think it's necessarily a scam, but be cautious.
Right.
Feel free to call us here at Town Hall. Talk to your trusted family members, and also, again, visit that irs.gov website for greater clarification. But we're here to help. We're here to answer these questions, and at least if we don't have the answers, we're more than happy to go find the answer for you and at least connect you with people who can find the answer as well. So, again, Lynn, thank you very much for the input. We appreciate it.
So where does Lynn work? Do we know?
I don't know.
We need to get that next time she calls in.
Okay. All right, Lynn.
Lynn,
I know you're listening. You told me you listened during dinner, so so if you could either email me or Sergio, so this way we can find out where you're at.
She's a great resource.
So someone just commented as well that the debit card comes in a plain white envelope too, and that's why some people think it's a scam.
It's a scam.
But
yeah.
they're probably doing that specifically so people don't rip it open thinking it's a debit card.
So just be careful, be cautious when you're opening your mail.
Thank you, Peter.
And if you see that debit card, and if you're expecting either unemployment or your stimulus check, don't discard it right away. But again, I think you got to just be a little cautious about what it is. And again, you can either contact us here at Town Hall or check out one of the corresponding websites.
So part of what you were talking about before, two of our basic, our huge basic needs are food and housing, and we've done a lot to talk about supporting our food banks in town. There are a few, and we really want to. We really want to try to make sure that those in need have, so, St. Mary's, you have the Presbyterian Church, we have the Yorktown Community Food Pantry, some different ways to really get out there and help in there. And then also in housing, I'm just going to give a plug, and Sergio, I expect to see you on the link. My wife and I and our dogs are going to walk for my brother Vinny on Flag Day. They're doing a virtual walkathon, so everyone signs up online. But it's a great way to, if you want to walk to support them, you can try to do that. Look them up on Facebook. They have a link. They have plenty of teams. But what they're doing is helping veterans in need, and they go ahead and my brother Vinny brings a team of people that are all volunteers that are paying it forward. Usually it's veterans they've helped in the past, and they passed 1,000 veterans, my brother Vinny,
Yes.
correct? So they're over there. They're probably on their way to 1,100 already. They help these veterans not only move into their housing, which they get a housing voucher, but when they go into the housing, they have nothing, none of the basic needs, and they supply them with beds, furniture, kitchen supplies and smallwares, and utensils, just something as easy as knives and forks. And it's a 100% volunteer organization. No one gets paid. So there's a great way to help support those that have helped us in the housing. And, a lot of these people also depend on those local food banks. So please support them if you get that opportunity. But anyone who's friends with me on Facebook, you could look for that link, or just look up my brother Vinny online. They're a great organization that helps. So.
Great. That was our good friend Jay, and Jay was commenting on the debit cards. He just wanted to make sure that we emphasize to folks at home, read the letter that's coming, especially the IRS letter when you get from your stimulus money. Make sure you're reading the letter that's included, because there are fees associated with that debit card use. And so Jay just wanted me to emphasize to everyone to please just make sure you're reading the letter, know the details. And Jay, we appreciate you calling in and giving us the heads up on that. So again, for the folks at home, if you're going to get that debit card, whether unemployment, but especially IRS, don't just discard it. Read the letter, understand the fee structure that's going to be a part of that debit card use.
Then we had a question, is the mall eyeglass place open? No, not as of yet. Nothing inside the mall is open or will be open in Phase 2, just things with an outside entrance, and we're trying to work that out. I know the supervisor mentioned before he'll be talking to the mall about that tomorrow.
Yep. I know they've offered for some of the eyeglass places specifically the ability to open in a very specific manner, but I don't believe anyone took them up on it yet.
So if you have a retail location and it's located in the mall and is approved in Phase 1 to be open for curbside pickup, because they're in the mall, they still won't be able to be open, even though they're in Phase 1. It's so confusing.
We're working that. It's very confusing. We're working that out.
Yeah, it's just, it's like everything else with this. It's fluid and it's developing and it's fast-paced and requires a lot of understanding, I'll tell you that.
Yep. Other questions on Facebook?
Yeah, there's a question, is Section 1 bulk second date announced, or is it still? No.
When they say this, when they say second day, I'm not quite sure what that means.
Well, they already picked up once, so.
Section 1 is still TBD. Section 1, 2, and 3 are to be determined at this point in time. 5 is where we currently are. Section 6 begins June 8th. Section 7 begins June 22nd. That's what we have. It's just 5, 6, and 7 right now. 1, 2, and 3 are still to be determined. So if you are in 1, 2, or 3, please don't be putting your bulk pickup items out at the end of your driveway, because they're going to be there for a while, and I don't want that to turn into an eyesore or an unsafe condition. So we're going to be continuing to update the bulk pickup schedule, and I know it's an item that I think I get the most frequent communication on from our constituents. We're doing our best. I know the Yorktown News ran the updated schedule for us. We continue to announce them on programs like this during town board meetings. I know that, thank you, Sergio, for using the electronic sign over in the Heights. I know the Yorktown Police Department put something out over in Nixle. So as we do have updates, we're going to be more aggressive in that outreach. But right now, it's sections 5, 6, and 7 that have dates. Sections 1, 2, and 3 are to be determined at this point in time.
And then there was a question, or statement or question, I think it must be a question, are inspections on cars being extended? Now, I know registration was and licenses, but inspection places are open because they were deemed
Yeah.
car
They were deemed
repair was
essential.
deemed essential.
Well, I'll tell you firsthand, right? I had an inspection done on my wife's car last week.
But are they, if someone has not been able to go out, maybe they're a senior, and they don't feel comfortable, is there an extension on
I
that?
thought there was. I thought there was an extension, if my memory serves me correctly. But we can get that information and respond to that person directly, and we'll get a confirmation on that.
And then a question came, a lot of Section 1 houses have bulk out. Will they be notified to take it back in?
Again, we're gonna do our outreach as best we can. We've been stating for quite some time that Section 1, 2, and 3 were not scheduled, and we do understand the frustration with that, because I know everyone gets that mailer at the beginning of the year, and it's
On the calendar.
on the calendar, but unfortunately we weren't anticipating the coronavirus, so.
But Section 1, 2, and 3 have been picked up in the first phase, right? In the first.
First go around,
The
yeah.
first,
Yeah.
yeah,
All
in
right.
the
So
first quarter they were.
I
Yeah.
think the point is we got to finish the first go around first.
Right. The concern is that, again, I read the statistics earlier, right? 850 tons of bulk trash, 7 tons of bulk metal. That's what we've picked up during the coronavirus.
And do we know what
That's
a normal
insane.
year is?
A lot less than that.
Right. Yeah, I could tell you just from what Carol made me toss.
Yeah. So again, the problem is you had so many, people are their homes, so they're getting to that
Honey-do
long-awaited
list.
list of chores,
Yeah.
which has been growing for quite some time, if not years, and so the increased volume again, coupled with the fact that 50% of our staff, we're mandated a 50% workforce right now. It's proving to be a problem.
It's got to
And
be
so we
patient and understanding.
we just ask for everyone's understanding and patience, and we're going to get to you. But again, we'll try to do our best to do additional outreach to Sections 1, Sections 2, and Section 3 to let them know that they should be pulling their stuff back at least for the month of June, and we'll reschedule that pickup. Supervisor Slater, how can I help you? Awesome. That's what I thought as well. Yep. And they didn't even put an end date on that. Yep. That's what I thought. Lynn, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
And Peter, who also helped us out with the question about the cards coming in the white envelope, stated that the inspections are extended, as I just received an email from
Yep.
mine.
Yeah, that was my.
Did you ask Lynn who she worked for?
She's sending it to me.
Okay.
That was my understanding as well, is that they were extended, and there's no date that it's extended to. They're just extended at this point in time until we get our feedback underneath us. So that's the answer for the inspections. All right.
Great.
All right. Sergio, closing remarks?
Just look out for what we're still talking about, the PPP loan. We're in the forgiveness phase of that, of the PPP loan now. There is a new bill out that's been passed in the House that extends some of the parameters, but it's not law yet. It is a little complicated on the forgiveness application. The forgiveness applications are out, but you need to wait for your bank to request the application from you. And the best advice I could give you is make sure you have plenty of documentation, save your receipts, make sure you have your canceled checks, that kind of stuff to ensure your maximum forgiveness on the loan. And the checks for the stimulus checks, they are coming and they are being processed. I have a bunch of people that have seen us on this series a bunch of times, and they're giving me feedback. They're saying, hey, I just got mine. So they are coming if you haven't received it yet. Just be patient with that. All right?
Councilman?
Look, it's been a absolutely crazy 3 months, and there's light at the end of the tunnel. Keep focused on what we're doing to get it right. Don't. Yeah, it's sort of like raising a kid. I always used to caution myself about being too extreme, because I think it gathers a extreme reaction. But just keep level, keep focused. we're almost here. I do want to make a comment, though, that I'm happy that I've seen that the littering of gloves and masks has gotten a lot better. But please have that respect. I have seen a couple things out and about. Please know that our code inspectors are out there looking for that, looking for violations in the parking zones, the no parking zones, fire zones. We need to really keep everything safe for everyone and worry about that quality of life. And, you know, please keep the faith. We're moving through and just about there.
Perfect. Yeah, I agree with Councilman Lachterman. Just stay focused. You know, we have to continue to be compassionate. We have to continue to be understanding, and just have to continue to be kind to each other. Again, this is an unprecedented situation that's caused an unprecedented amount of stress for a lot of our neighbors. And so this is the time for us to be better neighbors. And the best way to do that is to come together as we have and be a community. And we've continued to flatten the curve. We continue to reduce the numbers. But now it's not the time to, as Councilman Lachterman said, lose focus. So we have to be smart and we have to be safe. And then we know that we're going to be successful. And so we're going to be back on Tuesday with our town board meeting. We'll provide some more updates then. Again, as always, we're going to give you as much information that is validated and accurate as it comes to us regarding the coronavirus. So until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.